All right, we are fresh back from the Sony a7 III announcement. Here it is, the successor to the pretty popular entry-level full-frame camera from Sony, the a7 and the a7 II. And I have to say, my headline for this camera is, there's not much to complain about. We've got a 24 megapixel sensor in here. It is a new design. So the a7 II also offers 24 megapixel, but this is completely redesigned, backside illuminated. It's gonna offer up to 15 stops of dynamic range. That should be impressive. We also have 693 autofocus points, and here's one of the most impressive kind of feature sets about this camera. It is not borrowing, as you might expect from the a7R III's focusing system, which I found to be very good, but instead heavily borrows from the Sony A9, which is the top of the line, sports-oriented and action-oriented flagship camera, and that includes a better Eye-AF system than what we see in the a7R III. I just came back from Vietnam. I was really happy with the a7R III and those Eye-AF for street photography and portraits on the go. And this system looks to be even a little bit better. I was really impressed. We just shot some models tonight and some different scenes, and it really seems to be fantastic. We do have the 5-axis in-body image stabilization. That's nothing new, but it's worth mentioning because this is an entry-level full-frame camera. $2,000 is going to be its price point. One of the other features that I'm impressed with is that it offers 10 frames per second, mechanical shutter, or the completely electronic silent shutter. And that's impressive because you still get the full 14-bit RAW in either shutter mode. And I do suspect a downside will be some rolling shutter with faster action. So it's not going to be like the A9, it's probably going to be more like the a7R III, but that's something we'll be testing over the next couple of days and bring you some results. Video-wise, it really doesn't feel like they held anything back from their higher end models. 4K, HDR with that HLG format, Slog 2 and 3 is in here, and it actually is a 6K file that is downsampled, or 6K, oversampling down to 4K to create that really nice, should be, video resolution. I'm curious to see how it performs against the a7R III, how it performs against the original a7 II, which doesn't shoot 4K, and well, I've got the 6D Mark II here on the table, and it feels a little sad and a little outclassed right now, though there are some things it might offer over. And one of those things you think it might offer over is like, well, battery life. Well, they've added in the newer, higher capacity Z battery for the a7 III, and that gives you 710 shots per charge, which is the highest rated, according to SIPA, of any mirrorless camera to date. And well, honestly, 710 doesn't sound a whole lot, but again, I was just back from Vietnam and Yellowstone National Park, two very separate, two very different trips. Yellowstone in winter is very cold, very battery taxing, and I easily made it through a full day of shooting photos and videos on one single battery. So this is rated longer with the same battery. I think we're gonna see fantastic performance out of that. I really feel like Sony looked at the drawbacks that have been listed on these cameras over the last couple of days and really worked for the last couple of years and really worked hard to address them. Other nice features that I'm really happy to see in this camera, and I wasn't sure that they would give us, we've got dual SD card slots. We have the same body type as the A9 and the a7R III, so that gets you the joystick on the back, really makes it easy to move that focus point around. We have USB-C for faster transfer and for charging in body if you need to, or on the go, which is one of the features that I love about the Sony cameras. And we have a touchscreen interface. Now, it is still that more limited touchscreen that just lets you really touch to focus, touch to move the focus point. You don't have touch controls in the menu systems. And as I mentioned, this is going to be at the $2,000 price point, available in April. I'd love to know your thoughts on this camera. Are you interested? Does it address any issues you may have had prior to this camera coming out? How do you think it compares to some of these other cameras on the table? As I said, I really feel like they didn't hold anything back. They didn't cripple anything to protect their higher line. And it makes me wonder how many people are going to spring for that extra $1,500 for the R3. There are certainly some benefits. We'll be testing and looking at those over the next few days, but at $2,000, there is a whole lot of camera packed in here, and as I said in my opening, there's not much to complain about. Leave your comments, your thoughts right down below, and if you found this quick thoughts about this announcement and early spec list helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified of our review coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.